Our next session is a corporate investment session. The topic is sustainable investment, transforming Odisha's economic through corporate partnerships. We would like to call on stage our panelists, but before that we will of course play a little AV for them. Our first panelist is Shri Hemant Sharma, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Industries Department, Government of Odisha. Can we please have an AV for him? Can we have the AV for Mr. Hemant Sharma, please?
Shri Hemant Sharma is a senior IAS officer with vast administrative experience. As Additional Chief Secretary, he has been instrumental in shaping Odisha's industrial policies, driving major investment summits like Make in Odisha and promoting ease of doing business. He also champions MSME growth, startup innovation, and sustainable industrial development. An advocate of sustainable industrialization, Shri Sharma has been instrumental in fostering partnerships between the government and private sectors and in positioning Odisha as a competitive destination for investors at both national and international levels. His visionary approach continues to shape the state's industrial landscape, making him a respected figure in governance and development circles.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for Shri Hemant Sharma. Please may I request him to join us on stage. Next panelist we have is Ms. Ruby Sinha, President of BRICS CCIWE. She's an entrepreneur, development professional, and founder of Sheetwork. Can we please have her AV?
Ms. Ruby Sinha is the President of BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Women's Vertical, and a prominent advocate for women's leadership and entrepreneurship. She is the founder of Sheetwork.com, a digital platform supporting women entrepreneurs with resources, mentoring, and opportunities. With a strong background in media, communications, and strategic consulting, she brings deep insights into empowering inclusive business ecosystems. Ruby is also a TEDx speaker and author, often invited to speak at global platforms on entrepreneurship, gender inclusion, and leadership. Her initiatives focus on building a strong, supportive environment for women in business across BRICS nations and beyond, earning her recognition as a change maker in the startup and social impact space.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for Ms. Ruby Sinha. Next we have with us Dr. Tapan Kumar Chand, who is a veteran of India's metals and mining industry. He's having served as Chairman and Managing Director of NALCO. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have an AV for him, please.
Dr. Tapan Kumar Chand is a renowned mining and metals expert with over 40 years of experience. As the former CMD of NALCO, he led the company's global rise through strategic innovations in alumina and bauxite production and diversification into green energy and lithium. An alumnus of Utkal, Andhra, and Calcutta universities with global management training, Dr. Chand is also known for promoting Odisha as an investment hub during his times as CII Odisha Chairman. He championed initiatives like Nalco Ki Ladli and skill development centers, empowering youth and supporting girl-child education. His visionary leadership continues to inspire across industry, education, and public service.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for Dr. Chand. Next we have with us is Shri Prabodh Mohanty, Chairman of Utkal Chambers of Commerce and Industry Limited. Please may we request him to join us on stage. Let's have a huge round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very distinguished panel. Let's have a huge round of applause for all of them. Today's topic is sustainable investment transforming Odisha's economy through corporate partnership. I would like to ask each one of you, what do you think is the current challenges that we are facing in this industry, and what do you think is the solution to it, according to you?
Hello.
We can hear you. Yeah, you're audible.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Odisha Bhaskar, especially Kaustubh, for inviting me here and felicitating me. I'm grateful. I am in the exalted company of Mr. Hemant Sharma, who is leading the Odisha growth story. And with the government aspiring to make Odisha the most developed state in India by 2036 and reaching $500 billion of economy. For that to happen, we need to grow in a very faster rate. In this next 10 years' time, this has already been spoken by other guests in the inaugural session. So, to achieve that scale, we may have some challenges. There are opportunities, but we have to face the challenges. And with the growth must be sustainable. You have seen Odisha receiving so much of investment intent in the last many Make in Odisha programs. In the last Utkarsh Odisha program, we have received about 70 lakh crores of investment intent, and mostly from mining and metal sector. So, of course, mining metal sector will drag the economy of Odisha because of abundance of raw material, natural resources. So, we have a challenge there, how to make these investments sustainable. So, investors who are coming to Odisha, they have to think of this, they have to make their policies, plans with ESG embedded plans. They have to take the people around with them. They have to involve them in the very planning stage, and to have their energy requirements must be made through the renewable energy. At least a part of they must reduce their dependence from the fossil fuel-based energy to renewable energy. That is one thing. With the mining metal sector, there are other areas also where we need to focus on. The government of Odisha is actually focusing on tourism, on apparel, on IT, such other things where there is a huge potential for employment. I, being the president of Utkarsh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I'm more keen on the small scale industries, MSME. Corporates will come, they will invest mostly in mining metal sector. That is inevitable because we have the natural resources, we have the ports, we have the favorable logistics. But with that, we need to see our policies are in such a way aligned that with the big corporates coming in, with the mother industries coming in, there should be also downstream industries, ancillary industries, where the people of Odisha, the local people, the local entrepreneurs can think of investing. If you, with a one anchor industry, with a one major industry, you can set up 100 ancillary industries or downstream industries by the local people, so they will become the job givers, not the job seekers. So there only we see the real development of Odisha in a holistic way. So MSMEs naturally face difficulties in adopting the modern technologies. For sustainable practices, they have to be, actually we have to handhold them so that they adopt. So government, sir is here, must make such policies where they can get cheap credit, subsidies, or tax breaks, so that they are incentivized to adapt to the green technologies. So the problem is there with the MSMEs. So because corporates, they will always, they have the money, they have the wherewithal to adapt to modern technologies, and with their development, the MSMEs, where there is the main challenges.
Yes. So
for
you're saying
benefits.
the sustainability aspect should be seeped down till MSME level.
Yes,
and
yes,
therefore
yes. Yes.
policies should be developed according to
Right.
that. Very well said, yes. Because big corporates, of course, follow these ESG methods, but it's the MSMEs also at the grassroots level that they need to follow these.
They are the major
Okay.
employers.
So that according to you is the biggest challenge. What about you, Ms. Sinha? What do you think is the biggest challenge that we are facing right now?
Yeah, I can just, I hope I'm audible, yeah. I can just give a macro perspective from not a specific Odisha perspective, but what I feel is that increasingly, corporates need to focus on a couple of things. One is you as a corporate have to invest not just in your own manufacturing and in your own growth as a company, but also in creating the ecosystem. Firstly, working closely with the education hubs, because that's from where your talent comes, in creating more centers of excellence where next generation R&D is happening. In fact, if you look at figures, India ranks one of the lowest in terms of investment in R&D from the private sector. I think it's just around 36% of a gross expenditure ratio, whereas in the US it's around 75%. As a country also, our investment in R&D as a part of our GDP is 0 point some percent. So, that's where, I mean, increasingly, we have to move from being service as a service sector economy to a manufacturing and R&D hub for the world. And for that, corporate investments is very critical. The second point that I was talking about is, as you were talking, sir, about creating that MSME hub. And especially when I speak from a women's point of view, that we have to train women to move beyond being solopreneurs. We say she's an entrepreneur, but actually she's a freelancer sitting at home and doing a small business. We have to enable women to become entrepreneurs with scalable businesses. And for that, corporates have also got to improve their, procurement policies. I personally feel the procurement policies should be such that they encourage more and more women to be a part of the procurement process, because it's very difficult for women to get collateral-free loans. They do not have so much of property in their name. So all these factors need to be considered. So from the corporates can help create that ecosystem of nurturing talent, create more of incubators, support incubators and accelerators so that more and more entrepreneurship comes up, people become more of job seekers, support R&D, because that's the crux of the next generation of our, we are saying we are in the decade and we are talking about future technologies, and that can only come when we are investing in R&D, and corporates have to play a big role in this for the future. That's my viewpoint.
Nice. So you're talking about R&D is one thing that we do not put too much money in, and therefore corporate investors should look at R&D as one of the places where they should be able to put money. And the second is, of course, women entrepreneurs, rather than them being solopreneurs, to be more of, have more scalable businesses. What about you, Mr. Sharma?
Well, I think the two speakers before me, they have already not audible.
Can we have the mic volume?
No,
Yes.
I think now it's working. So the two speakers before me, they have already highlighted some of the pathways towards achieving more sustainable development, and particularly in the context of Odisha, it is even more important. Reason is that our state's economy is excessively dependent on our mineral resources. Today, in our GSDP, 40% contribution is from manufacturing, about 38% is from services, and about 22% is from agriculture. Within this 40% of manufacturing, almost 37 comes from mineral resources alone, which means that almost more than 1/3 of our economic activities are mineral dependent, mining dependent, which also leads to another wave of growth, which is in metallurgy, which is even more carbon inefficient. So, see, we contribute about 3% to India's economy, with with about, let's say, $110 billion of GSDP, we contribute about 3% to India's economy, but our contribution to India's carbon footprint is 9%. Reason is, as was mentioned by Mr. Mohanty also, that our economy is dependent on mineral and metallurgy, which is our prime industry, which is inherently, it is carbon intensive. Now, what is the way forward? What is the pathway towards more sustainable development? The pathway is what is called decarbonization. And this is not only applicable to Odisha, it is equally applicable to similarly placed states or countries. Australia or South Africa or Indonesia or any country in Africa. Within India also, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, some parts of Maharashtra, even Goa for instance, wherever mineral-based industries have a larger contribution to economic and manufacturing activity, this is the situation. Now, what is the way forward? The way forward is either by way of regulation, by way of law, by way of incentivization, by way of building up social pressure. The industry has to move towards more and more sustainable practices. Now, just to give you an example, when we make 1 ton of steel, we are using 1.5 tons of iron ore. We are also using 1.7 tons of coal or coke. When we are producing 1 ton of steel, we are also producing 2.5 tons of carbon dioxide. So this is the nature of the industry which we have. What should be done? Now let's take, for instance, the larger corporates or the bigger ones who have 10 million tons, 20 million tons, 5 million tons of steel making. It is easier for them to procure technologies where this 2.5 tons of carbon dioxide per ton of steel could come down to 1.5. Are these technologies available? Yes, the answer is yes. Are these technologies available to at all economic levels, large, hyper large, mega, medium, small? Answer is no. It is possible for a 10 million ton steel plant to invest in a technology which will be less carbon intensive. What about the pellet plants? What about the sponge iron plants? What about the induction furnaces? What about the electric arc furnaces? Therefore, while it is easier to say that technological adoption, technological changes which lead to less carbon footprint, I think not only by way of law or by way of regulation, also by way of incentivizing this technology adoption, we will have to do this. What is it that the government of Odisha is doing in this regard? So we have a very good industrial policy where if you adopt any environmentally sustainable practice, whether it is in mining or in metallurgy or in food processing or in packaging or in textiles or apparel or garment, agnostic to any of the economic sectors, we provide all up to 50% of incentivization in terms of capital equipment support. No other state does that. And what is the outcome? The outcome is today, as compared to, let's say, most other states where carbon intensive industrialization is prevalent. Mineral bearing states generally will have that kind of a situation. We are not the worst polluters, I would say. In the last 5 to 10 years, our industries have adopted better practices, whether it is at mining edge, at the pit head, or at the dispatch end at the steel plants or aluminum plants or cement plants. As our country brings in more and more technologies, as the market for green products improve, there will be an inherent financial logic for companies to adopt this. So our incentive, our regulation, and the market logic together will drive this pathway towards decarbonization and more environment sustainability.
Wow, very well said. And there's so much of carbon footprint that it's heartening to know that there's so much of carbon footprint, and yet we are trying to make it sustainable. So it looks like a mammoth task ahead of us, but we're doing what we can. What about you, Mr. Chand? What were the challenges you faced as the CMD of NALCO, and how did you overcome it?
One of the major challenges that we are facing today is the challenge of giving engagement and employment. Because all the development benefits that we will be bringing, unless the person is having the purchasing power, he or she will not be able to avail. You have the bullet train, but if you don't have the money to board the bullet train, then what meaningful it will be to the bullet train. So common people, if they have to enjoy the benefits of the development, there is need to be the purchasing power of the people to be increased. For which I see that one of the first major challenge is that you should develop a world-class investment climate or ecosystem. I must thank our Additional Chief Secretary Sharmaji, because in the first Make in Odisha investment conclave, I remember that it is around 2.5 to 3 lakh investment only came. In the third, which he led, and in the fourth, it is 10 lakh, now it has jumped to 17 lakh. Look, within a very short span of time, that means around 10 to 12 lakh more investment could come, because as you know that if the investment comes, opportunity of job gets created, the infrastructure gets created, industry comes. So all kind of things are all byproduct. Second thing that is very challenging is that this investment which comes, it not only comes, but it should be realized in the ground. There also a lot of improvement has taken place thanks to him, that he has personally been guiding, because I have been closely interacting with the industry department and other departments. What I have found, that industry department is very proactive to see that whatever investment they are getting commitment, that comes to the ground actually. And every time you will see in the newspaper that so much of investments are getting grounded. So this is yet another thing. Third one which is required, that investment should not only come in the industry, investment should come in the social sector and agricultural sector as well. So therefore, because those are the sectors who will take the society on board. So while I was there in NALCO, first of all, you know that NALCO is having the strong arm of alumina. It's worldwide, its alumina product is very much famous. And Odisha is famous for its bauxite reserve, its rich quality and its deposit. So that's why we decided that we will be putting up an additional refinery of 5 to 6,000 crore, which is now going, it will be another next 7 to 8 months, it will get operated, it will be commissioned. So that is a large investment that came. At the same time, we also saw that an investment is made in AIMS. There are many investments in social sector have been made, but I will just give one example. Around 50 crore we invested in AIMS hotel night shelter, where there was no shelter. Once I had gone in the night along with the director of the institute, I saw that people are just sleeping on the road because there are no provision during that time of any kind of a night shelter. First time, then I asked that why such a, now we don't have provision of AIMS to create any kind of a night shelter for the attendants, but the patient has to be accompanied by attendants. Then I decided that yes, we should go for investment even if it is 50 or 60. This is one example. Another small example, the general people see the thing that the investment in R&D is not done. But there, we also invested in R&D. One example is the aluminum fluoride separation. And a technology was developed, that nano-based merino technology, which separates fluoride by making it gas and again conducts it in the same tube. So therefore, that was a thing. So therefore, what we should aim at, that we should facilitate investment, make the investment in the ground, invest in the social sector, create enough of employment opportunity, because once the people are having purchasing power, economy will automatically get warmed up, because one person will purchase, then demand of goods and services will be created, new industry is coming. So total change cycle comes only if you have the purchasing power enhancement. So my compliments to Additional Chief Secretary, that he has been driving this too, and I very closely I am observing that these are drived in a very right way. So maybe in the next few years, or when the Viksit Odisha comes, that all round development can take place.
Lovely, very well said. So Hemantji, back to you. What do you think is your vision for 2030? What is your vision for Viksit Bharat, Viksit Odisha? And how do you think you're going to achieve this?
So that's a very large question. I think ideally it should have been put up to a senior functionary from the political system, but I'll try and answer it in so far as it relates to us. See, for a state like Odisha, what the government is targeting is what is in economic terms called a structural shift in the economy. our plan for Viksit Odisha 2036 is actually Samruddh Odisha 2036. So economic prosperity is the goal. Why is economic prosperity a goal for Odisha? It should be a goal for every state, but it is a much more important goal for Odisha because in terms of per capita income, we are still low. For a state like Gujarat, while economic prosperity could be a goal, there is another goal what is called health for all or a sustainable economic prosperity. For us, economic prosperity is the first target. How will we achieve that economic prosperity? So the government targets what is called a structural shift in the economy. Today, 40% of our GSDP comes from manufacturing, 38% comes from services, and 22% comes from agriculture. While 22% of our GSDP comes from agriculture, more than 60% people are dependent on agriculture. Their per capita income is low because the contribution of agriculture is low, and it is becoming lower day by day. How does this look like in Tamil Nadu or Maharashtra or Gujarat, which obviously are much more prosperous, much more developed states than us? It is the other way around. What is the other way around? The other way around is that from services in Tamil Nadu, the contribution is almost 56%. From agriculture, it is down to 11%. And from manufacturing, the balance is from manufacturing. We have to have a similar structural shift where the contribution from services will go up, which will also be more environmentally sustainable. The contribution from within manufacturing needs to shift towards more and more MSMEs and more labor-intensive industries without, while leveraging our strengths in our mineral and coastal wealth. And the agriculture has to shift to the next level by bringing in better inputs, better technology, and better training. So to achieve the Viksit Odisha by 2030 and 2036, in agriculture, we are trying to give better inputs, better seeds, better fertilizers, better insecticides, better irrigation, better training to farmers, better market to farmers so that they are able to produce better, earn better. That in simple terms, that is what we are trying to do. In manufacturing, we are trying to diversify the base so that our dependence on mineral and metal-based industries relatively reduces. So we should have more food processing, we should have more information technology, we should have more health services, we should have more tourism, we should have more industries which are called new age, the next wave of industries. Next wave of industries are all across the globe related to sustainability, related to decarbonization. So why should, for instance, we have only coal-based power plants? Why should we not be targeting floating solar plants or renewable energy or solar or wind or battery storage or pump storage? That is the pathway. The pathway is in manufacturing, to broad-base the manufacturing activity, relatively reduce the dependence on mining and metallurgy, increase in other sectors which are new age sectors. And finally, in services, we have really a long way to go. Now, why are services important? Services are important because they are all talent-based. Whether it is IT services, it is all based on IT talent. Health services, all based on health talent, talent in medical services and all. And tourism is based on either natural surroundings, the natural beauty, natural spots which we have, and infrastructure which is required to draw in the tourists, which is what we are trying to do. Just to give you, sometimes data makes it easy to understand. If we set up one hotel room extra in Puri, it creates employment for 8 persons. If we create one bed extra in a hospital, it creates employment for 5 people. So effectively, if we are able to create 1,000 rooms extra in let's say Puri or Konark or in Gopalpur or Chilka, we would be creating 8,000 jobs. If we are able to create just 1,000 beds extra across medical services, we would be creating 5,000 jobs, which would otherwise need a 10 million tons of steel plant with 15 million tons of carbon dioxide every ton and still generate lower and lower jobs. Again, I'll give you a very good live example from Odisha. When the first 3 million ton steel plant came up in Rourkela Steel Authority of India Limited, it employed 30,000 people. When the next 5 million ton steel plant of Tata Steel came up at Kalingnagar, it employs 5,000 people. The latest steel plant, Nippon Steel, which is coming up at Paradeep, is 12 million ton. It is employing just 3,000 people. Why? because the technology has moved. From 1970s, the technology has moved, more automation, more mechanization. It is also becoming more environmentally sustainable because of that. However, manufacturing technology will come in, and in services, talent. Odisha is full of talent. Today, sometimes jokingly, people, not jokingly, I would say, people cast aspersions on us, particularly for people like me. So, which is the largest city in Odisha? Which is the largest city? Bhubaneswar. How many people stay here? 10 lakh? 10 lakh. There are 12 lakh Odias in Bangalore. So Bangalore should be the largest city of Odisha, not Bhubaneswar. Are they working in steel plants? No. They are working in IT sector. They are working in textile sector. They are working in hospitality sector. We need to recreate that kind of a situation. So that is our vision for 2030 and 2036.
Lovely. On that note, I think a lot has been said, and we can continue this conversation, I think, for days. But because of paucity of time, we will have to end it here. We do have a few eminent personalities who have won some awards. So let's quickly move into it. The first person to win the award is Jindal Steel and Power. Can we have the AV, please?
Jindal Steel and Power Limited is a leading Indian steel manufacturer and a key player in power, mining and infrastructure sectors. Founded by the late Shri O.P. Jindal, the company produces a wide range of steel products and operates cutting-edge facilities like the coal gasification-based steel plant in Anugul, Odisha. JSPL is the third largest private steel producer in India and has a significant global presence. Strength in steel, heart in service. Naveen and Salu Jindal are the power couple behind Jindal Steel and Power Limited, driving both industrial growth and social transformation. While Naveen Jindal leads JSPL's expansion in infrastructure and energy, Salu Jindal strengthens the group's social vision through her work in education, health and women empowerment. Together, Naveen and Salu Jindal lead JSPL not just as a business enterprise, but as a vehicle for holistic development.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to invite Shri Sanjay Kumar Sahu, DGM, to kindly come and collect the award. Let's have a huge round of applause for him, please. I request our panelists to kindly present him with an award. Congratulations. Our next awardee is the Dion Group. Can we please have an AV for them, please?
Shri Manoj Kumar Sahu is a visionary entrepreneur who has significantly impacted Odisha's real estate and infrastructure sectors. As the founder and director of Dion Group, he has been instrumental in transforming the company into a leading player in the state's housing and development landscape. Under his leadership, Dion Group has undertaken several landmark projects. Beyond real estate, Shri Sahu has diversified the group's interests into the automotive sector with the establishment of Dion Automotive Private Limited. His journey from humble beginnings to leading a multifaceted enterprise serves as an inspiration, demonstrating the impact of vision, determination, and hard work in driving regional development and economic growth.
On behalf of Manoj Kumar Sahu, we have Chairman Suresh Chandra Sahu to kindly come on stage and collect the award. A huge round of applause for him. Heartiest congratulations, sir. Next we have for JSL, And we would like to invite on stage Sashi Bhushan Upadhyay, Resident Director, to kindly come and collect the award. Let's have a huge round of applause, please. Congratulations. Congratulations. Our next awardee is Saswat Infra. Can we please have the AV for them?
Engineer Jyoti Ranjan Behuria is a seasoned civil engineer and the visionary founder of JB Assets Private Limited.
Can we have the AV for Saswat Infra, please? We would like to now invite on stage Shri Swadesh Rautre, MD, to receive the award. Congratulations, sir. Let's have a huge round of applause. I know it's nearing lunch. Congratulations. Our next awardee is Acre Rise Real Estate. Can we have the AV?
Acre Rise, one of Odisha's most promising real estate developers, has been transforming the urban landscape since 2009. Founded by visionary engineers Mr. Shashikant Barik and Mr. Sheikh Mairajul Haq, the company is known for its commitment to quality, trust and innovation. From premium residential communities like Amantran and Aura to smart urban projects like Aurelia and One World, Acre Rise continues to shape modern living across Bhubaneswar and beyond. With multiple awards and recognitions, including features in Fortune India and Outlook magazine, Acre Rise stands tall as a symbol of excellence in Odisha's real estate sector.
On behalf of Sheikh Mirazul Haq and Shashikant Parinda, we have Shakti Das to kindly come on stage to collect the award. Huge congratulations. Congratulations. We would now like to invite on stage Mr. Pradosh Patnaik, Chief Editor, Odisha Bhaskar Group, to kindly felicitate Hemant Sharma ji. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause once again for our dignitaries for sharing the pearls of wisdom with us. It's truly been an enchanting chat. Thank you.